Hello everyone, this is my first movie review in a while since January after the Batman reviews. After the death of my friend, I took a break for a little while, a little mental break to recover from the loss and the grief of my friend. In today's video, I'll be reviewing The Cabinet of Dr Caligari, the German expression horror movie from 1920. While it's not considered the first horror movie, it's considered the first full-length feature horror film that was over 1 hour and 20 minutes long. Because prior to this, there were other horror movies prior to this that were shorts, for example, Edison's Frankenstein and French filmmaker and illusionist Georges Méliès's House of the Devil. But those are considered short horror movies compared to this being a 1 hour and X amount of minutes. And also, there were also other shorts of Frankenstein and Dracula, but unfortunately, those films no longer exist today. Also, in this video, I'll be reviewing this movie with my father, but before I dive into the review with my dad, here's the plot, who directed and who starred in this film. The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari was directed by Robert Wiene. The story was written by Karl Mayer and Hans Janowicz. The movie stars Werner Krause, Conrad Vought, Frederick Feuer, Lil Dagover, Hans Heinz V. Twardowski, Rudolf Heimestier. I'm not sure if I pronounced these names right, but I did the best I could. I'll leave a link in the description of their names of these people. The movie's about two men sitting on a bench, and it's told through the story of the character's point of view. He tells the story of Caesar, a sleepwalker circus performer controlled by Dr. Caligari. Caligari uses Caesar to commit crimes. The movie was released on February 26, 1920 in Germany, but they say the film was released in 1919. Maybe it was released prior to that in 1919, but for what I've read in books or so, they say that the film was released in 1920, so it's a little bit debatable in between when the film came out between 1919 and 1920. Hello everyone, once again I am joined by my father for a movie review of The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Say hi, Dad.
Hello.
So, Dad, what are your thoughts on the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari?
Well, I think that, many silent horror films, that it's still a very creepy film to watch. Its use of German expressionism has been influential, and I think that even though it's silent, it's still something that everybody can enjoy.
Absolutely. I still think this film is really, really creepy and scary at times. Mm-hmm. It's the kind of film that you watch where you feel like you've escaped reality. It feels like you're in a trance in a different type of world.
Right. He does. He creates this new world with the sets being different types of jagged and
different type of shapes.
Different shapes and actually artificially constructed.
Right.
And the design is very impressive, even though it's not constructed with typical materials like you would expect houses and things. It's more like cardboard almost.
True.
But it gives a very strange and surreal feeling.
Oh, it does. Oh, it does. Not only that, the villain of the movie, even before seeing this film, if people have never seen it, people are very familiar with the character of Caesar or Cesar. I don't know if it's pronounced Caesar. How is it pronounced? Caesar or Cesar?
I think it's Cesar.
Okay, because I always thought it was Caesar for some. It just looks identical.
Yeah.
But I guess without maybe the E in it, it's pronounced it's Caesar. But now with it, like you said, Caesar.
Mm-hmm.
And he was played by none other than Conrad Vought, who did a lot of other he was a very well known character actor after this film. He went from he was one of the few actors that made the transition from silent to talkie. He was in Casablanca and
yes,
I forget what other films he did. And he was in Was he in The Man Who Laughs?
I'm not sure if he was.
Okay, I could be wrong on that one, so I'll have to correct myself for that when I edit this video.
Mm-hmm.
I think what also I love about the film too is how Well, this is going to be a little bit of a spoiler right here. So you haven't seen the film yet, stop it right here. I know it's a little bit early talking about it, but that twist ending was like one of the best like twist endings I ever saw in like a horror film. I did not see coming. Unlike M. Night Shyamalan's The Sixth Sense.
Right. I think that I was really surprised when I saw that because uh, I think it's very far ahead of its time
Right.
in doing that. I was really uh, flabbergasted almost when I saw that twist come at the end. I didn't expect it.
Me neither.
And it's very cleverly done.
Yeah.
And like I said, there weren't any movies at that time that anything like it.
Well, I mean, then again, this was like again 1920. That
Right.
was like before like the well structure and the art of format of filmmaking at that time. Because when you look at the history of film, they were like slowly, progressively learning all these new techniques when it all became film. And
Right. This is really the birth of cinema. So
yeah,
these are the types of things that at the time it proved to be very shocking, and even so now, but even more so then when this wasn't even part of the language of film.
no. I also feel like would you say the film also like reflects on like Germany for its time after like post World War One at the time?
Yeah, I think it does because there was a lot of reconstruction that needed to be done
Right.
at that time, and the characters and the whole surreal effect of it.
Yeah.
Probably a lot of people felt that way. Just having been through such a terrible war.
Right, especially how Germany's economy at that time was not in good shape after post World War One.
Mm-hmm.
And also I also feel like would you say unlike most like that's another thing too about this film, like there's no like any famous actors in this or actresses in this film, not like in today's like modern world people are familiar with like actors and actresses.
Yeah, I don't know. They may have been familiar with the people that were in the cast.
Well, then again, some of them were probably like stage actors before
right,
the film.
Right, and that was very, very common. A lot of people that were in theater ended up getting a job in the movies.
Yeah, because
people that were on the stage had to be very demonstrative in their actions.
Yeah,
because there wasn't a camera that was close up on them.
Right.
Which is why I think a lot of times you'll see a lot of exaggerated poses and exaggerated expressions because they're trying to reach the last person in the audience. There weren't any close-ups.
I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Dim. Like, as in the words of Norman Desmond, we didn't use dialogue, we used facial expressions. I just had to point that joke out since he said that. Also, I think the film also, like, let's see. Like, again, it's just like a really, like, I think still a film that really, like, holds up for its time, especially, like, how, like, very creepy it is, but without, like, no gore, well, it's definitely not a slashing type. This was definitely the film that, like, started the format of, like, Beauty and the Beast, the monster. Well, I mean, even though Beauty and the Beast is a story goes back a long time ago before this film, but I just mean, like, when you point this film out, this film was inspired from a lot of, like you said, future filmmakers and also a lot of inspirations of future films in the next decades to come.
Yeah, and I think that even though it's not a gory film, the way that it's done with the shadows, that I think that's very, very effective.
Yes,
the murders that you see, with the shadows on the wall, very, very effective.
Yeah, absolutely, very. And going back to like the twist ending, it makes you wonder: was this like? It makes you wonder: this like it's sort of like a film with like no answer. This really happened? Was just like it's all like in his head? Did he just like make up all his stories in his head, or was he like really like a mentally insane patient?
Right, I know, and you have that question mark.
Yeah,
which is good, I think. When it leaves certain things for the audience's interpretation.
Yeah, my opinion, it's hard to say because of like when the guy is telling his like own point of view at the end, you realize it was just all make believe in his head.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that's true.
Yeah, I guess maybe you could say it wasn't true, that he was just some crazy guy who like thinks that this happened where it didn't happen. Where again, left with like all the possibilities and all the answers that we just don't know about what if could have been real or not.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what still like makes it hold up today. You really feel like you say to yourself, "What the heck did I just watch here?" That.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, this film can be considered a time. Well, then again, a lot of like films like these are considered time capsules.
Yeah, they are, because you get a chance to see
History.
You get a chance to see what people, their customs were, and,
Right.
and also clothing. And,
Yeah, that's true. No cell phones, people. None of this back in the 1920s.
Buildings, streets, etc. It does it's like a time capsule.
Yeah. I don't know if you know this. Back in the 80s, when Tim Burton was just like a newcomer rising up, he originally wanted to do a remake to this.
No, I didn't know that.
I mean, as much as I love and respect Tim Burton, I mean, not that he could have done a good. I just don't know how he would have topped that. And,
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, there was a remake done.
Yeah, I've heard about. I never saw it though.
Yeah, I've never seen it. I think it was made in
2005 or something.
Oh, okay, all right. Yeah.
I don't know who directed or who's the.
Yeah, I don't know anything about
me
it.
Me neither. I think it wasn't like a main. It was more like maybe like an indie film or something.
Hmm.
I know very little bit about it. I just read about how there was a remake in 2000. That's it. That's all I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, it probably.
It would be a good remake if they did an anime of it, or an animated film.
Maybe.
That would be very interesting.
It would be, but it's hard to like top this film because of what its groundbreaking effects were back in the 1920s.
Mm-hmm.
I probably could have gone with a Tim Burton route. At the same time, again, I was going to top like what was already done for this film, and
right. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And also, when was the first time you ever heard about this film?
I don't remember. It could have been. It may have been when I was in college. That could have been the time that I heard about it.
Right.
I did not see it in college though.
Well,
I just knew of it.
No Blu-rays.
We had very little access to movies like that because there was no home video.
Nope.
So occasionally, you could see it on a PBS station or something like that. But otherwise, the only exposure I had to was reading about it in photos and movie books.
Just like what Martin Scorsese said, how before home videos, and that's the only way you were able to know about these films, by seeing pictures in a book and reading about the premise of the movie. And would you also that's another thing too, with this film being in the public domain, it's been like restored countless times.
Yes.
Would you say like the Blu-ray was the best quality picture? What we saw that
the Blu-ray looks fantastic. I've seen other prints which are really very difficult to watch.
Right.
But the Blu-ray looks like it was shot yesterday.
James Rolfe, the angry video game nerd, said the same thing back in the 90s when he was a teenager, when he first saw Caligari on home video VHS tape. He said it was hard to tell what was going on at the time, and he said at that time he didn't really appreciate, because of its quality issue. It wasn't that he didn't hate the film, he just couldn't understand what was the premise until now with like Blu-ray. Now he sees the bigger picture behind it.
Yeah.
And for me, the first time I saw it was on Blu-ray, and I enjoyed it the first time I saw it. Well, especially how maybe if I did see it as a kid with on a different public domain DVD format, it would have been hard to tell what was going on because of how the film was, like, again, it's over 100 years old. It would have been hard to tell. Yeah. But still, I think this is an excellent, phenomenal horror film that really holds up very, very well, and still, I think, is very creepy to watch. And my advice, if you watch this, watch it in the dark. That'll really add up to the creepiness and atmosphere.
That's right. I was going to say the same thing. Watch it in the dark.
Any final closing thoughts on the film?
No, I think it's worth a look-see for anyone who's interested in horror and silent films for sure.
Yes.
But just because it's silent, don't write it off.
Exactly.
It's worth seeing.
Also, I think that too, if you're like my father said, if you're a big diehard horror fan, if you're curious about where horror all started, check this movie out. Well, even though despite that, there was other horror films before, but they were mostly like short movies that had the best quality budget films, like Edison's Frankenstein and Milais's what was House in the Dark, I think.
I don't remember.
But you know what I'm talking about.
Yes, I do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Those were just very poor quality with just, again, experimental films at that time before full-length films at the time.
Mm-hmm.
But still, definitely give this film a try. I will see you next time. We're going to do Nosferatu. So once again, I'm joined by my father here for the Cabinet of Dr. Caligari review. Say hi, Dad.
Hi, Dad.
So once again, I'm joined by my father for this Cabinet of Dr. Caligari review. Say hi, Dad.
Hello.
At least